Welcome to the series of Blender tutorials. This tutorial is about the Properties window in Blender 2.59. This script has been contributed by Sneha Deorukkar and Bhanu Prakash and edited by Monisha Banerjee. After watching this tutorial, we shall learn what is the Properties window, what is the render panel in the Properties window, what are the various settings in the render panel of the Properties window. I assume that you know the basic elements of the Blender interface. If not, then please refer to our earlier tutorial, Basic Description of the Blender Interface. The Properties window contains various panels. It is located on the right-hand side of our screen. At the top of the Properties window, there is a row of icons. These icons represent the different panels which come under the Properties section. Render, Scene, World, Object, etc. These panels contain various settings which are very useful while working in Blender. We must resize our Properties window for better viewing and understanding. Left-click the left edge of the Properties window, hold and drag to the left. We can see the options in the Properties window more clearly now. To learn how to resize the Blender windows, see our tutorial, How to Change Window Types in Blender. Render is the first panel in the Properties window. By default, it gets displayed on the Blender interface whenever we open Blender. The settings in this panel are used to create the final output of the animation. Image is used to render a single frame of active camera view. Left-click Image. For keyboard shortcut, press F12. The active camera view is rendered as a single frame image. Press Escape on your keyboard to return to the 3D view. Animation is used to render an entire range of frames or an image sequence and create a movie file. By default, the frame range is 1 to 250 on the timeline. Left-click Animation. The entire frame range from frame 1 to frame 250 is getting rendered. Press Escape to stop the render progress. Press Escape to return to the 3D view. Go to Display in the render panel. Display helps us choose how to view the render progress on the screen. By default, the display is in Image Editor mode. Let me demonstrate. Press F12 to render the active camera view. The render display appears as the UV Image Editor. The 3D view changes to the UV Image Editor every time we render the active camera view. To learn about the UV Image Editor, see the tutorial Types of Windows, UV Image Editor. Press Escape to return to the 3D view. Go to Display in the render panel. Left-click Image Editor. This drop-down menu shows a list of render display options. Left-click to select Full Screen. Press F12 to render the active camera view. Now, the entire Blender screen gets replaced by the UV image editor. Press Escape to exit the full screen render mode and return to the Blender workspace. Go to Display in the render panel. Left-click Full Screen. Select New Window from the list. Press F12 to render the active camera view. Now, the render display appears as a new window over the Blender workspace. You will find this very useful when rendering previews of your animation. We shall see how to do this in later tutorials. Close the render display window. Go to Display in the render panel. Left-click New Window. Left-click to select Image Editor mode. The display is in Image Editor mode. Next setting we shall see is Dimensions. Here we can customize the various render presets depending on our required output. Left-click Render Presets. A drop-down menu appears. Here is a list of all major render presets: DVC Pro, HDTV, NTSC, PAL, etc. For now, we shall leave these aside and proceed to the render dimension settings. Resolution is the width and height of the render display and the active camera view. By default, in Blender 2.59, the resolution is 1920 by 1080 pixels. 50% is the percentage scale of the render resolution. That means only 50% of the actual resolution will be rendered. Let me explain. Press F12 to render the active camera view. This is the default render resolution. It is only half or 50% of the actual resolution. Close the render display window. Left-click and hold 50% under resolution in the render panel and drag to the right. The percentage changes to 100%. Another way to change the percentage is left-click 100%. Now, type 100 on the keyboard and press Enter. Press F12 to render the active camera view. Here is a full 100% resolution render of 1920 by 1080 pixels. Close the render display window. Now, I want to change the resolution to 720 by 576 pixels. Left-click 1920. Type 720 on your keyboard and press Enter. Again, left-click 1080. Type 576 on your keyboard and press Enter. Press F12 to render the active camera view. Here is a full 100% resolution render of 720 by 576 pixels. Close the render display window. Go to Frame Range under Dimensions in the render panel. Frame range determines the renderable animation length for your movie. As I said before, by default, the frame range is 1 to 250. Left-click Start 1. Type 0 on your keyboard and press Enter. This is the starting frame or first frame of our animation length. Left-click End 250. Type 100 on your keyboard and press Enter. This is the ending frame or last frame of our animation length. So, now we have a new frame range for our animation. Go to Timeline below the 3D view. Notice how the timeline display has changed now because we changed the frame range in the render panel. To learn about the timeline window, see the tutorial Types of Windows, Timeline. Go to Aspect Ratio under Dimensions in the render panel. Notice that when we changed the resolution, the aspect ratio changed as well. Frame rate determines the number of frames animating in 1 second in our movie. By default, it is 24 FPS or frames per second. Left-click 24 FPS. A drop-down menu appears. Here is a list of all major frame rates used while making an animation movie. You can choose any one depending on your requirement. Left-click FPS 24. Type 15 on your keyboard and press Enter. So now, our frame rate has changed to 15 frames per second. Next is Output. Do you see this horizontal bar with TMP written on the left and a file browser icon on the right? Here we can specify the output folder for our render files. Left-click the file browser icon. To learn about the file browser, see the tutorial Types of Windows, File Browser and Info panel. Select your output folder. I am selecting My Documents. Left-click Create New Directory. Type Output and press Enter. Left-click Output to open the folder. Left-click Accept. Now, all our render files will be saved in the Output folder in My Documents. Below the Output folder bar is the Image Format menu. Here, we can choose our output format for our render images and movie files. Left-click PNG. Here is a list of all formats supported in Blender. We have image formats and movie formats. We can select any one depending on our requirements. Below PNG are the 3 color modes used in Blender. BW is the grayscale mode. RGB is selected by default. RGB is the color mode that saves render files with RGB data. RGBA saves render files with an additional data called alpha channel. This works only with certain image formats that support alpha channel rendering. So that was about the render panel. So, in this tutorial, we have covered render panel under the Properties window. The rest of the panels shall be covered in the next tutorial. Now, go ahead and create a new blend file. Change the render display to New Window. Change resolution to 720 by 576 100%. Change frame range to 0 to 100. Change frame rate to 15 FPS. Create an output folder for the render files. This tutorial is created by Project OSCAR and supported by the National Mission on Education through ICT. More information on the same is available at the following links: oscar.iitb.ac.in and spoken-tutorial.org/nmeict-intro. Thanks for joining us. And this is Monisha from IIT Bombay signing off.